The Weeknd has 12 albums released, from his first album, House of Balloons, to his most recent album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. Each album builds its own universe, and Dawn FM is one of his best world-building and storytelling albums. Dawn FM is the second album in a trilogy that starts with After Hours. The story follows the pain Abel puts himself through following a failed relationship. After Hours, Dawn FM is the second album, which The Weeknd struggles with regret, guilt, and redemption. But we have the whole video to talk about Dawn FM. So the last album in the trilogy is Hurry Up Tomorrow. That serves as a farewell to the Weeknd persona and symbolizes his growth as an artist and character. There's actually a movie with Jenna Ortega being released for Hurry Up Tomorrow, so maybe that'll include some of the other albums. Dawn FM is a conceptual studio album by The Weeknd, released in January 7, 2022, and it's a journey that's presented as a surreal radio broadcast. On the fictional station 103.5 Dawn FM, Jim Carrey plays as the DJ or the radio host, but this isn't just any radio station. This radio station acts as a passageway or the transition into the afterlife. The show host appears several times throughout the album, where he talks about regrets, fear, and many other things that we'll see later in the video. But this radio station positions the listener, or I guess the Weeknd, to be in a sort of liminal space, transition into the afterlife. The 16 tracks delve into multiple topics such as love, regret, redemption, as I said earlier, and it all comes together in the end to form a poetic story about what heaven really means. So find somewhere to relax or something to do as you listen and watch a breakdown of The Weeknd's Dawn FM, song by song.
You are now listening to 103.5 Dawn FM. Stay tuned.
The album's introduction and title track, Dawn FM, is a narrated interlude from Jim Carrey, or the radio show host. Accompanied by some vocals by The Weeknd, this song builds the atmosphere and it tells the listener what to expect for this album. The first line, "This part I do alone," is Abel willingly choosing to go on a journey of self-discovery.
This part I do alone.
Whether it's religion or his dreams, this is him opening the album that will take us on a journey. The radio serves as a guide for us and Abel on his journey. The Abel depicted in Dawn FM is a contrast to the Abel in the preceding album, After Hours, as he's really diving into his inner self. In this song, he builds the scenery of the album, which is also represented in the album cover. The line, "'Cause after the light, is it dark all alone?" depicting that this album will be in a darker abyss, with a cooler and darker color palette, rather than the bright city that the previous album, After Hours, was set in. The narrator first introduces the idea that this is the transition into the afterlife by saying,
You've been in the dark for way too long. It's time to walk into the light and accept your fate with open arms.
The second track, or really the first song on the album, is Gasoline, which yet again sets the mood in the 80s synth style that this album will maintain. In this song, The Weeknd describes his parasitic relationship with his current lover, using them as a crutch for his drug problems. Abel begs his lover not to let him go, as they're the only thing he has at this point. In the lyrics, he gives a nod to his 2015 song, The Hills, saying,
It's 5 a.m. my time again. I'm calling and you know it's me.
We're in the hills, he says, in the line, "I want you 'cause we're both insane," describing how he believes she is like him because she puts up with his way of living while others can't. When he says, "I'm dozing off to REM," it's actually a double entendre because REM more obviously refers to rapid eye movement in the sleep cycle, or the phase of sleep where you experience the most dreams, but REM also refers to the 19 rock band that was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2007. He says, "I love it when you watch me sleep," which is just his partner watching him in a drug-induced coma to make sure he doesn't die. In the chorus, he says,
And if I finally die in peace, just like my body in these sheets, and pour out the gasoline.
The protagonist expresses apathy towards his near overdose state, cared for by someone he may confuse love with. Aware of the possibility of death, he shows no concern, revealing the emptiness of the relationship and his deep nihilism. If he dies, he only wishes for a simple, impersonal disposal, wrapped in sheets, burned, and forgotten. Abel describes how he sees life as a sort of prison, and that ultimately anything he does doesn't really matter. The third song on the album, How Do I Make You Love Me, The Weeknd enters the dance pop genre, lamenting over his lover and questioning what he has to do for the relationship to last. This song is one of his few collaborations with the popular Swedish DJ group Swedish House Mafia, who he also worked with for Moth to a Flame. In the pre-chorus, he says, "I need a breakthrough," which is Abel telling us about his wider plan to kill off his old self. which will lead to his rebirth as Abel Tesfaye, let me know if I pronounced that wrong, but his new identity, which you might have been hearing about with Hurry Up Tomorrow because people are saying it's The Weeknd's last album. This song is basically him just seeking approval from his partner and the struggles he's had with past partners. How Do I Make You Love Me transitions smoothly into the fourth song on the album, Take My Breath. This song has a synth pop vibe and follows the same theme as the other songs on the album. In the line, I saw the fire in your eyes, he references the song Your Eyes on After Hours, where The Weeknd is seeing the fire in his lover's eyes. Something burning in her eyes, which is probably the pain she's feeling from their broken relationship. She's trying to hide the pain, but it's still visible. He says, temptation is the devil in disguise. This isn't the first time he's mentioned this. Back when Abel first started going mainstream, he released some hit songs like The Hills and Can't Feel My Face, both of which feature a mysterious man whose real name is Rick Wilder. Fans have speculated that the man is the devil, and he always shows up in The Weeknd's videos when Abel was considering doing something out of the norm. The song ends abruptly. The fifth track on Dawn FM is Sacrifice, and it's the second single released before the album. Along with an electro-funk guitar loop with an 80s sounding style, the track includes samples of I Want to Thank You by Alicia Myers, and I'll Do Anything For You by Denroy Morgan. In the line, every time you try to fix me, I know you'll never find that missing piece. It means that every time a significant other will try to put him back together, there's a missing piece that she'll never be able to find. He says, I sacrificed your love for more of the night. Which is him calling back to his Kissline song Adaptation, in which he mentioned something very similar.
I made a trade, gave away our days for a little fame.
In the end of the song, he says, I don't want to sacrifice, which is the complete opposite of the narrative in After Hours. The Weeknd is now okay with accepting the fact that he's on his own, that he can't sacrifice for the past love. It's not easy, but he affirms that he's trying his best to move on. He doesn't want to be in a full commitment with the girl, and there's a battle between being himself or pretending that he doesn't want to sacrifice who he is just to make the girl happy. It's a pretty easy track and one of the more popular songs on the album. A Tale by Quincy is the second interlude on the album, including the intro, where it finds famed producer Quincy Jones reflecting on his troubled upbringing and how it impacted his relationships with women and his kids.
And it's like raising kids, man. If you weren't raised, you don't know how to raise, you know?
This ties into the themes of the album, since The Weeknd is often mourning over relationships that have gone poorly because of his behavior, no small part due to his upbringing as well. This transitions into the seventh song in the album, Out of Time. In this song, The Weeknd flips a city pop classic, sampling the 1983 song Midnight Pretenders by Japanese artist Tomoko Aran. And goes introspective on Out of Time. The track features a distressed Abel as he realizes the mistakes he's made in his relationship and wants a second chance. Some fans noticed on Reddit Out of Time has a very similar song structure to his 2016 hit song I Feel It Coming, so much that the two tracks can almost be entirely overlapped with each other. After A Tale by Quincy, where he talks on his past trauma, The Weeknd ties it back to him in the line, there's so much trauma in my life. Abel feels as he's reached a point where he needs to take action and be completely transparent. The song ends in an eerie tone with Jim narrating,
Don't you dare touch that dial, because like the song says, you are out of time. Here's 30 minutes of easy listening to some slow tracks on 103.5 Dawn FM.
Out of Time transitions into Here We Go Again, featuring Tyler the Creator. And this is actually the first time The Weeknd has worked with Tyler the Creator, and in this calm instrumental they portray a story of caution in regards to the dark side of love and how its consuming beauty makes it impossible to avoid. There's so many lines in this song, so I'll just talk about the most significant ones or the interesting ones. In the lines, This is just Abel's distaste to the city of Los Angeles, which he's referred to before in songs like Escape from LA and Too Late. In the line, your girlfriend's trying to pair you with someone more famous, The Weeknd could be talking about his ex-girlfriend Bella Hadid, a world-famous supermodel, who's now dating Mark Kalman, who's nowhere near the level that The Weeknd's at. In Tyler the Creator's verse, he describes how he doesn't want the government involved in their relationship, as in marriage, and if they're gonna get married, she's gonna have to sign a prenup which ensures that she won't be able to take his assets in the case of a divorce. The song ends with a short intermission from the radio station, which is common between songs. Best Friends is the track following Here We Go Again, and it's a classic track from The Weeknd, with its super heavy bass and kick line that carries the listener through the track. I hate to spend this little time on a track this good, but there really isn't too much left to talk about, other than the end of the song where it has another radio intermission from Dawn FM. Best Friends transitions into the 10th song on the album, Is There Someone Else, which is the most popular song on the album with just under 1 billion streams. Over another relaxed and calm instrumental, The Weeknd asks his lover if there's someone else she's involved with other than him. Although he hints that he hasn't been loyal in his past relationships, he claims that he changed and he begs her to be with him forever. He says, I don't deserve someone loyal to me, don't you think I see? After being unfaithful to previous partners and treating them badly, he understands that he cannot ask for much, and he can see when something is not right. He recognizes disloyalty, another simple track that's easy to listen to and understand. The 11th song in the album is Starry Eyes, and to be starry-eyed means to be someone who is overly optimistic. In the song, it describes how Abel is ready for a more proper relationship, despite the previous tracks on the album demonstrating that The Weeknd has learned of the dangerous consuming nature of love. He seems ready to dive into a relationship with his dream girl to help her emotionally. He says, and I'll make it my responsibility, and that it's his responsibility to treat her right, which is the complete opposite to what he says in Best Friends.
Intense, graphic, sexy, euphoric.
The 12th track, Every Angel is Terrifying, is the third interlude on the album, and it's a very abstract song on the album as it feels like an 80s commercial and it's mainly spoken word. This is the song that really feels like a transition to the afterlife, with a Stranger Things type synth in the opening and a fast-paced, rushed commercial feeling throughout the entire song.
The exotic, bizarre, and beautiful world of afterlife.
Every Angel is Terrifying transitions into the 13th track, Don't Break My Heart. This song is backed by a shallow electric pop and R&B beat, produced by The Weeknd. This song has The Weeknd vocalizing about a woman who he describes as paralyzing and mesmerizing. In the pre-chorus, he says, but I know you're right for me, ecstasy, I keep coming back for more, saying that this new relationship is like an addiction for him, and that even when he tries to quit, he keeps coming back. He doesn't want to go through another heartbreak again, as he's had to deal with several times before. The 14th song, I Heard You're Married, featuring Lil Wayne, is another song that there honestly isn't much to talk about, and the song is just them expressing feelings of being involved with a woman who's already taken. The title of the song tells you everything you need to know. The second to last song, or really the final song, since the last track is an interlude, is Less Than Zero.
I'll always be less than zero.
This track has a beautiful melody and an instrumental that feels exactly like an ending. It feels like an 80s love song that could be used for a movie. In the chorus of the song, he says, which is him admitting that the guilt he feels from cheating on his partner eats at him, and he can't shake it off. He says, can we meet in the middle, saying he just wants to compromise with his partner.
You tried your best with me, I know.
In Phantom Regret by Jim, the album comes to a close with a spoken narration interlude from Jim Carrey, or the radio show host. This poem is the self-reflection of the voice of one's soul. The radio show host talks like he's an interviewer before reaching the afterlife, and he makes you question what heaven really means. The album ends with the line, you gotta be heaven to see heaven, saying that heaven comes from within, leaving it up to the listener what the transition into the afterlife means.
Do you remember them well? Were you high or just stoned? Gotta be heaven to see heaven.
Dawn FM is one of the Weeknd's best albums because of the world it builds and the story it tells. While it might not have the same amount of hit songs as Starboy or After Hours, it's one of Abel's deepest and most unique albums that leaves the listener questioning certain things when they turn the music off. Let me know what you thought of this video, and since you got this far, why not like and subscribe to the channel. I wanted to make a longer video, so hopefully this worked out well. You can get some t-shirts from my store in the description, and right under that you can support me on Patreon for exclusive posts. And if you want to see a video better than this one, click one of the videos on screen.